Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita mulakan kelas kita pada pagi ini dengan membaca Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, arrahmanirrahim, maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabbihi ajmain. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, ampunkanlah dosa-dosa kami, ampunkanlah dosa kedua ibu bapa kami dan kasihilah mereka sebagaimana mereka mengasihi kami di masa kecil. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, kurniakanlah kepada kami ilmu yang bermanfaat untuk diri kami, keluarga kami, agama kami, bangsa kami dan negara kami. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, berilah kepada kami kejayaan di dunia dan di akhirat. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, jadikanlah kami orang-orang yang bersyukur. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Okay, Alhamdulillah kita bersyukur pada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala pada pagi ini kita dapat memulakan kelas kita yang pertama ya. Jadi saya difahamkan oleh ketua program, terdapat 9 orang pelajar dalam kelas ni. Okey, tapi saya tengok dalam ni masih ada berapa yang ni? 6 ya. Jadi mungkin yang lain tu belum masuk. Okey. Jadi first of all welcome to UiTM. Okay, welcome to UiTM. I believe that you are coming from different places, and different institution. Probably you come from college matriculasi. Am I right? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, bro.
Okay. So I can see from here Nordania. Can you show your face, Nordania?
Yes, bro.
Nur Iman Husna.
Yes, bro.
Okay. Nur Nabila.
Yes, bro.
Nur Zafira.
Yes.
Okay. Nick Nur Alia.
Yes, bro.
Ros Hafika.
Yes, bro.
Okay. So welcome to UiTM ya. Okay. Semua daripada matrikulasi ke sebelum ni?
Tak.
Tak. Daripada mana? STPM.
UiTM Segamat.
UiTM Segamat. Oh, daripada diploma apa?
BA 111.
111. Business study. Okay. Ni Nick Nur Alia.
Saya UiTM Macang.
UiTM Macang. 111 juga.
Yes.
Nur Nabila.
Saya dari UiTM Merbuk.
Merbuk.
BA 111.
Okay. Nick apa ni? Nur Iman Husna.
Saya daripada UTM Space KL.
Daripada KL.
Ya, yeah, UTM.
Okay. Nur Dania. Tak dengar. Oh, tak dengar. Ros Hafika. Ros.
Saya dari UiTM Macang.
UiTM Macang. Okay. Okey, jadi selamat datang ke UiTM Johor. Okey, jadi hari ini kita akan mulakan dengan okey. So yang pertama kita set lah kita punya matlamat pada hari ini di sisi of first day in UiTM Segamat. Kita set matlamat kita, kita set matlamat kita untuk kita menuntut ilmu dan kita nak dapat ilmu sebanyak yang mungkin lah. Jadi pada hari pertama ini semua orang masih ada lagi 100 markah. Semua orang masih ada lagi 100 markah. Jadi markah tadi akan berkurang sedikit demi sedikit. Apabila ada test, ada kuis, kemudian ada assignment dan sebagainya. Jadi kita kena pertahankanlah markah kita tu. Kita jangan bagi bocor banyak sangat. Supaya kita, kalau kita dapat mengekalkan 80 ke atas, maka kita akan dapat A lah. Kalau kita dapat kurang lagi, dapat 75, kita dapat A minus. Dan begitulah. Kalau kita dapat simpan cuma 50, maka kita dapat C. Begitulah. Jadi maknanya semua pun daripada sistem UiTM, walaupun daripada fakulti yang berbeza, tapi sekarang ni anda semua telah berada di dalam fakulti perakaunan. Okey, jadi selamat datang ke fakulti perakaunan jugalah. Okey, jadi apa yang saya kata tadi, set in our mind, apabila kita nak masuk ke kelas, sama ada secara fizikal ataupun secara online ni, kita niatkan saja aku menuntut ilmu kerana Allah Ta'ala. Sebab apa? Sebab menuntut ilmu ini adalah merupakan perintah daripada Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala. Menuntut ilmu itu adalah wajib bagi lelaki dan perempuan. Jadi wajib. Setakat mana yang kita wajib, setakat yang kita mampulah. Jadi yang wajib sekali, yang paling wajib adalah ilmu fardu ain. Kemudian ilmu yang lain-lain. Okey, Muhammad Arif. Muhammad Arif.
Ya, saya.
Welcome to UiTM Segamat.
Sorry saya lambat saya. Problem dengan account tadi.
Ya, okey. Awak daripada mana?
Daripada Selangor.
Selangor mana?
Dekat Kajang.
Kajang. Tak, institution apa?
Institution dia macam ni masa tu?
Tempat belajar sebelum ni.
Sebelum ni UiTM Rembau.
Oh, UiTM Rembau. Apa program apa?
Program BA 111.
111. Okey. Okey, jadi sekarang ni kita ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okey, mungkin ada 2 lagi akan masuk mungkin sekejap lagi. Jadi saya akan share, yang pertama adalah saya akan share lesson plan ya. Saya akan share lesson plan. Boleh nampak semua? Okey.
Nampak.
So lesson plan, this lesson plan is the same as lesson plan of Puncak Alam also. Okay. The name of the subject is Financial Accounting and Reporting. And the code is 410, FAR 410. Lecture 2 hours per week. Tutorial 1 hour per week. Okay, my name is Muhammad Halim Kadri. This is my contact number. Course learning outcome. At the end of the course, you will be able to number 1, number 2, number 3. Explain appropriate recognition and measurement basis in accordance with MASPI conceptual framework and Malaysian Financial Reporting Standards in financial statement reporting. Number 2, construct financial statement in accordance with Malaysian Financial Reporting Standard. And number 3, analyze the financial performance of Malaysian companies. So these are the 3 course learning outcome. Course here is referring to our subject, right? And then the description of the course. This course exposes the students to the financial regulatory framework in Malaysia and the conceptual framework of financial reporting. Students are also introduced to elements in the financial statement, namely assets, liabilities, equity, expenses, and income. Simple items of asset and liabilities such as cash, inventories, receivable, and payables are also introduced. This course provides students the ability of preparing and presenting the financial statement in accordance with the related accounting standards. Recommended text, okay. I would like to recommend you, to encourage you to purchase the book, Tan Leong Tong, Tan Leong Tong, TLT is Tan Leong Tong, Financial Accounting and Reporting number 1, volume 1, 8 edition, volume 1, 8 edition. You can purchase the book online, or you can go to the shop, or you can refer to one of our lecturer here. Okay, and the price of the book is about 140. References. Okay, we can refer also to this book, Jane Laza. Jane Laza and Huang Qingchu, 2014. This is reference. The textbook is Tan Leon Tong. The reference is Jane Laza. Okay, so recommendation is to purchase. Okay, I cannot force you to purchase, but I encourage you to purchase because this book is very, very useful. You are going to use the book in your life, inshallah. Okay, and then you are going to refer to a few Malaysian Financial Reporting Standards. This one you can download from the internet. MFRS 116, Property Plant Equipment, MFRS 102, Current Asset Inventory, MFRS 15, Revenue, MFRS 101, Presentation of Financial Statements, and 107, Statement of Cash Flow. Okay, about the mode of delivery. Okay, the lecture will be conducted. Okay, the first 3 weeks will be online, and the rest of the weeks, we have 14 weeks, will be face to face. Assessment method. Okay, we are going to have one test, 15%. We are going to have one quiz, 10%, and we are going to have a project, 15%. Okay, and then we are going to have a final exam, 100 marks, and will be converted into 60%. Altogether, 100%. So these are the topics that we are going to cover throughout the semester. Today, inshallah, we are going to start with um, the first topic, that the financial regulatory framework in Malaysia. Okay, I have given you 2 slides. Actually, there are more than 2 slides. Yeah, I've given you 2 slides, and we are going to have the lesson based on that slides. Okay, the first topic will be on financial regulatory framework in Malaysia. So these are the coverage, about history, current financial reporting. Okay, you can read on your own. Okay, inshallah we are going to cover all this. Okay, and then in the second week, we are going to continue with the conceptual framework, of financial reporting. Okay, and we will cover, among others, status and purpose of the conceptual framework, the objective of general purpose of financial reporting, qualitative characteristic, financial statement and the reporting entity, the elements of financial statement, recognition, the recognition, measurement, presentation, disclosure, concept of capital and capital maintenance. Then in week 3, we are going to cover another topic, that is equity and liabilities. Equity and liabilities, but the special topic for week 3 is equity. Okay, so we are going to learn about equity for 3 hours. Okay, so about the equity, we are going to look at the requirement of law and also accounting standards, issuance of ordinary shares, repurchase of ordinary shares, and we are going to learn about reserve. In week 4, we are going to learn about non-current liabilities. Non-current liabilities, especially issuance and redemption of redeemable preference shares, and also accounting for corporate bond, bank loan, and long-term debts. In week 5, okay, before that, we are going to have a class for 3 weeks, and then we have a 1 week break for Hari Raya. One week break for Hari Raya. I forget to mention just now. Okay, and then week 4, we have non-current liabilities. In week 5, we are going to learn about current liabilities. Current liabilities that comprise of what? Trade payable, other payable, disclosure, and also In the same week, we are going to start with topic 6. Yeah, we are going to start with topic 6. That is property, plant and equipment. Yeah, property, plant and equipment. Yeah, I believe that this one should be deleted. Eh? Okay, so actually we are going to learn about MFRS 116 in week 6, not in week 5. Okay, so definition of property, plant, equipment, recognition, initial measurement, subsequent measurement, derecognition, and also disclosure of property, plant, and equipment. And then in week 7, okay, in week 7 we are going to learn about MFRS 102. Okay. In week 7, okay, in week 7 we still continue with MFRS 6. And then in week 8, we are going to learn about MFRS 102. Yeah, current asset, especially inventory. Okay. And we are going to have a test for 1.5 hours. Week 9, we are going to learn about topic 8, current asset, that is receivable. And then we are going to have another 1 week break for cuti khas perayaan. Okay, perayaan for Sabahan and Sarawakian. Yeah, 1 week. And then in week 10, we are going to learn about topic 9, MFRS 15, revenue. In week 11, we are going to learn about topic 9, revenue. In week, yeah, we have another cuti. Cuti perayaan. Christmas ni tak ada lah. No, sorry. Bukan, tak ada Christmas ni. And then we are going to have week 12, topic 10, MFRS 101, presentation and preparation of financial statement. We are going to prepare statement of profit or loss, statement of financial position, statement of changes in equity. Okay, in week 12. In week 13, we are going to learn about MFRS 101, preparation and presentation of financial statement. Continuation, week 13. And also at the end of the week, we are going to learn about MFRS 107, statement of cash flow. Okay. And continue with week 14, statement of cash flow. And also part of the week we are going to use for preparation and presentation of financial statement. That is the basic financial statement analysis or ratio analysis. And then that will end the semester. And you are going to have a study week for 1 week from 7 to 14 July. And then from 15 July up to 4th August, you are going to have your final examination or assessment. And you are going to have a semester break for how long? 5th August up to 22nd September 2024, and you are going to start with your second semester on 23rd September 2024. So basically this is the lesson that you're going to learn throughout the semester. Do you have any question about the syllabus? Any question?
No, Prof.
No question. Okay, so I'm going to start with our first lecture, first topic. Can you see this slide? Can you see the slide, class?
No, Prof.
No, sir.
No. Now, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Can you?
Yep.
Yes.
I can see the slide.
Okay, so this is the first slide, Okay, under this slide, this is our first topic, that is financial regulatory framework in Malaysia. Financial regulatory framework in Malaysia. Okay, so at the end of the chapter, the student should be able to explain the development of financial regulatory framework in Malaysia, explain the current financial reporting regime, discuss statutory regulation and financial accounting and reporting, and explain reporting requirement of various types of entity. Okay, so what is financial reporting? Financial reporting refers to the communication of financial information. So when we say financial reporting, it is communication. Communication of financial information. So what are financial information? Financial information like financial statement. Financial statement. Financial statement comprise of profit or loss, statement of financial position, statement of changes in equity, notes to the financial statement, cash flow statement. So those are the financial statement. So we are communicating this financial information to the financial statement users. To the financial statement users. Who are the users? There are many users. Internal users, external users. Okay. Among of them are investors and creditors. So creditors want to see the financial performance of the company. Creditors also wanted to know whether the company can pay back the money. Can pay back the money belong to them. Okay. And then financial reporting is typically viewed as companies issuing financial statement. So when we say financial reporting, people can see that financial reporting is actually issuance of financial statement. A general purpose set of financial statement include a statement of financial position, a statement of profit or loss, a statement of owner equity. Statement of owner equity here is referring to statement of changes in equity. So another one is statement of cash flow. But financial reporting is much more broad than just a set of financial statement. So actually financial reporting, people can say that, okay, financial reporting is actually reporting the financial statement. But actually financial reporting is more than that. more than reporting the financial statement. Okay, definition of accounting standards. Accounting standards are the written statements. Written statements consisting of rules and guidelines issued by the accounting institutions for the preparation of uniform and consistent financial statement, and also for other disclosures affecting the different users of accounting information. And accounting standard is a guideline for financial accounting. Accounting standards specify how the transaction and other events are to be recognized, to be measured, to be presented, and to be disclosed in the financial statement. So we are going to recognize what is this. This is an asset. What is this? This is a liability. What is this? This is an equity. What is this? This is a revenue. What is this? This is an expense. And then measured. Measured means value. We put the value to the asset, to the liability, to the equity, to the revenue, to the expenses. Yeah. Presented. Presented means shown in the financial statement. Shown in the financial statement. So in the financial statement, in the statement of financial position, you can see the non-current asset, the current asset, the current liability, the non-current liability, the current liability, the equity also, the revenue, the expenses. You can see in the financial statement. So that is presented and disclosed in the financial statement, right? The need for accounting standard. The needs for accounting standard. Why we need accounting standard? Can we just prepare according to what we want to prepare? The answer is we cannot. There must be certain standard so that we can compare our financial statement with other financial statement. We can compare our company financial statement with our other companies' financial statement in Malaysia as well as outside Malaysia. So the first purpose of having an accounting standard is for financial statement comparability. For financial statement comparability. Accounting standard ensure the financial statement from multiple companies are comparable. This is because all entities follow the same rules. When they follow the same standard, when we say this is a current asset, we have 1,000 current asset. We go to other company's financial statement, and that particular company is having 2,000 2,000 current asset. So we can compare that our current asset is half of that company current asset, right? Without accounting standard, there is little consistency as to the reporting of the financial information. Accounting standards make the financial statement credible and allow for more economic decisions based on accurate and concise information. Okay, so when we prepare the financial statement, we need to be consistent. We need to be consistent. For example, when we calculate our depreciation, okay, we have to follow one method of depreciation. For example, if we calculate depreciation based on straight line method, so next year, we are going to use the same method, okay, consistently. Okay, we cannot simply this year we select the straight line method. Next year we select another method, that is reducing balance method. Not as simple as that, right? So we have to follow consistently. Why we have to be consistent? Because we are going to make the financial statement credible and allow for more economic decision based on accurate and concise information. And then external entities such as banks, investors, and regulatory agencies rely on accounting standards to ensure relevant and accurate information is provided about the entity. Okay, let's go through the historical perspective of the accounting standard. Okay, the history of accounting standard in Malaysia, we start with Companies Ordinance, whereby the standard is incorporated in Companies Ordinance. This is the first documented financial reporting regulation. Okay, Companies Ordinance and Amendment of 1940, 1946, and 1958. So these are the first accounting regulation in Malaysia. Companies Ordinance here ordinance is actually a law prior to independence. A law prior to independence. So at that time is known as Companies Ordinance. So after we become independent, it is known as Companies Act. Companies Act. Now it is known as Companies Act. So it started in 1940 before independent, and 1946 before independent, and 1956 before independent. This ordinance continued to play an important role in regulating financial reporting until the establishment of Malaysian Companies Act 1965. We independent in 1957. Only in 1965, after 8 years of independence, we have our own Companies Act. Our own Companies Act in 1965. Okay, what about Companies Act 1965? Just now we talk about Companies Ordinance 1940, 46, 56. Now we talk about Companies Act 1965. Under this act, the reporting requirement, rules, and regulations on accounting were formally established. So this is the formal accounting regulation under Companies Act 1965. The act contained the 9 schedule which specify the disclosure requirement in the financial statement of Malaysian companies. So if you have incorporated a company, it means you have a company, you have to follow the rule in 9 schedule of Companies Act 1965. Right? In 1985, the Act incorporated a revised 9 schedule which contained more comprehensive disclosure requirement and specifically required that a statement of source and application of funds as part of the financial statement. So in 1965, it started with profit or loss, at that time known as profit and loss, and balance sheet, profit and loss and balance sheet. But in 1985, the Companies Act add another financial statement that is known as what? A statement of source and application of fund as part of financial statement. Okay. And then the Companies Act 1965 has been used for many years. Has been used for many years from 1965 until 2016. How many years? 1965 until 2016. 75, 85, 95, 2005, 2015. 51 years. It has been used for 51 years. Only in 2016, the government come out with Companies Act 2016. This new act is to replace the original Companies Act 1965. This new act no longer prescribe accounting treatments and disclosure requirement for financial reporting, and the 9th schedule of the Companies Act 1965 has been removed. For financial accounting and reporting, the reporting companies have to comply with the approved accounting standards issued by the Malaysian Accounting Standards Board must be. So the 9th schedule is no more included in the Companies Act 2016, but the Companies Act require that all companies with regards to financial accounting and reporting, they must comply with the approved accounting standards issued by the Malaysian Accounting Standards Board. Any questions so far, class? No?
No, sir.
Okay. Then we have Malaysian Institute of Public Accountants. Yeah, Malaysian Institute of Public Accountants, MICPA. Malaysian Institute of Certified Public Accountant. Okay. Tertinggal satu perkataan kat situ. Malaysian Institute of Certified Public Accountants, MICPA, was established in 1958. Was established in 1958. It regulates the practice of its members. Who are the members? The members are certified public accountants. So to be an accountant at that time, you must register with Malaysian Institute of Certified Public Accountants. This body, MICPA, issued the first accounting guidance in 1968. After 10 years of its establishment, it already issued the first accounting guidance in 1968, and it deal with a specimen of company account. An example of company account was produced by Malaysian Institute of Certified Public Accountant. Okay. The specimen of company accounts were drawn up to comply with the requirement of the 9th schedule of the Companies Act 1965, and also influenced by the practices in the United Kingdom and Australia. Okay. Still about Malaysian Institute of Certified Public Accountant. In 1978, 10 years after that, MICPA began adopting International Accounting Standard, IAS. International Accounting Standard, IAS. 4 IASs were adopted in year 1978. That is IAS 1 and IAS 4. In 1984, 6 years after that, MICPA issued the first Malaysian accounting standard that is known as MAS 1, Earnings Per Share. Earnings Per Share, Malaysian Accounting Standard 1, MAS 1. And then in 1997, 13 years after that, 13 years after that, the Malaysian Accounting Standard Board, MASB, took over MICPA role as a standard setter in Malaysia. So starting from 1997, MICPA has no role of setting or preparing a standard, an accounting standard for Malaysia, because the role has been taken over by a new established body, that is Malaysian Accounting Standards Board. Yeah, Malaysian Accounting Standard Board in 1997. So now the standard setter in Malaysia is Malaysian Accounting Standard Board, not MICPA. MICPA is up to 1997 only. And then in 1967, 1 year before establishment of MICPA, okay, it was established. Malaysian Institute of Accountants was established under the Accountant Act 1967. Under the Accountant Act 1967, it regulates the practices of the whole accounting profession in Malaysia. This Malaysian Institute of Accountants regulate the practice. Okay, regulate the practice. It does not come out with accounting standard. It regulate the practice. It means, okay, anybody want to practice accounting, anybody want to be an accountant, you must register with Malaysian Institute of Accountants. MIA, Malaysian Institute of Accountants, started to issue accounting standard in 1987 after its operation were elevated to that of a national accountancy body. So initially, It is to regulate the practice. But in 1987, it was given a power. It was given a power to issue accounting standard in 1987. After its operation were elevated, were recognized, yeah, to that of a national accounting body. It became a national accounting body in 1987. Yeah, 20 years after its establishment in 1967. And then we have also Securities Commission. Securities Commission, SC. With the establishment of Securities Commission in 1993, public companies are required to change to a full disclosure reporting system. And we have also another one, that is Central Bank of Malaysia. Central Bank of Malaysia guideline. Okay. So Central Bank of Malaysia, Bank Negara Malaysia, Central Bank of Malaysia, Bank Negara Malaysia. Bank and financial institution were the first to move to full disclosure practice as required by the Bank Negara Malaysia guideline. Okay, starting from the establishment of Bank Negara Malaysia. So kita dah habislah untuk bahagian yang pertama, dan kita akan break selama 5 minit. Kemudian kita akan sambung lagi dengan bahagian yang kedua. Okey, ada apa-apa soalan?
No, sir.
Tak ada soalan ya. So, tak ada soalan, kita akan sambung sebentar lagi. Okay, welcome back. Okay, we go to the second part of the note. Yeah, second part of the note. This is about current financial reporting regime. Yeah, current financial reporting regime. Okay, so current one. The current financial reporting regime is governed by Financial Reporting Act 1997. Financial Reporting Act 1997. It started on 6 March 1997. The Financial Reporting Act 1997 was passed and gazetted. Was passed in Parliament and gazetted as Financial Reporting Act 1997. And the passing and gazetting of the Financial Reporting Act has established two independent accounting bodies, known as the first one, Financial Reporting Foundation, FRF, and the second one is Malaysian Accounting Standard Board. Okay, just now we talked about Malaysian Accounting Standard Board in 1997, right? Yeah, establishment of Malaysian Accounting Standard Board that replaced the function of MICPA as a standard setter. You remember? Okay, so starting from 1987, the role of standard setter has been taken by Malaysian Accounting Standard Board. So, establishment of the Financial Reporting Foundation, FRF, and Malaysian Accounting Standard Boards happened in 1987 after the passing of the Financial Reporting Act 1997. So, you can download this act, Financial Reporting Act 1997 from internet. Okay, so we go to the first organization, that is Financial Reporting Foundation. Financial Reporting Foundation, the short form is FRF, is a trustee body. Trustee body. What is trustee? Trustee mean in bahasa pemegang amanah. Pemegang amanah. Trustee. Trustee body has responsibility for the oversight of the must-be performance. There are two different organizations. The first organization is FRF. The second organization is MASB. But the role of FRF as a trustee body has responsibility for the oversight of the must-be performance. Financial means providing fund, providing fund for must-be, and also funding arrangement, and as an initial source of view for the must-be on proposed standards and pronouncement. So before must-be start with setting of a new standard, okay, the must-be must get the view from the Financial Reporting Foundation. Must get the view from the Financial Reporting Foundation. It has no direct responsibility with regard to standard setting, because the responsibility of setting the accounting standard is in the hand of must-be. In the hand of must-be. So if you want to download anything, you can click that www.mustbe.org.my. You can download all the standards from there. Next, must-be was established under the Financial Reporting Act 1997 as an independent authority to develop and issue accounting and financial reporting standards in Malaysia. The must-be together with the FRF make up the frameworks for the financial reporting in Malaysia. So, if you want to see the Malaysian financial reporting framework, you can click this link. We can click this link, and we can get this final reporting framework. Financial Reporting Framework for Financial Reporting in Malaysia. Okay. Let's move the function of FRF and must be. The function of FRF and must be. Okay. The function is not listed here, but the function can be seen from the book I mentioned just now, Tan Leong Tong, in page 3 and the Financial Reporting Foundation, the function in page 3, and also the function of Malaysian Accounting Standard Board is also in page 3 and page 4. Okay, I will snap the photo for you this time. Page 3 and page 4. Okay, let me snap the picture first. Tak dapat. Okay, this one is page 3. Another one is page 3 and page 4. Let me snap the picture. Okay, now we have 2 pictures. Okay, so let's read the role, the role of FRF and the role of must be from this page 3 and page 4 of the book. Okay, so I read for you. In December 1996, the Malaysian government announced its intention to establish a new financial accounting and reporting regime. Okay. This intention was subsequently endorsed in Parliament when the Financial Reporting Act 1997 was passed and gazetted on 6 March 1997. With this act, 2 independent bodies were established. Okay, what are the functions of FRF? Okay. A, to provide its view to the must-be on any matters which the must-be seeks to undertake or implement in relation to must-be function of issuing, reviewing, developing approved accounting standards. B, to review the performance of must-be. C, to be responsible for all financing management, for all financing arrangement for the operations of the must-be, including approving the budget of the must-be. And D, to perform such other function as the Minister of Finance may prescribe by order published in the Gazette. That is the function of the role and function of the Financial Reporting Foundation. What are the function of must-be? The function of must-be, number 1, to issue new accounting standard, approved accounting standard, number 1. Number 2, to review, revise, adopt as approved accounting standard, existing accounting standard. Number 3, to issue statement of principle for financial reporting. Number 4, to sponsor or undertake the development of possible accounting standards. Number 5, to conduct such public consultation as may be necessary in order to determine the contents of accounting concept, principle and standards. Number 6, to develop a conceptual framework for the purpose of evaluating proposed accounting standard. Number 7, to make such changes to the form and content proposed accounting standard, and as it consider necessary. And lastly, to perform such other function as the Minister of Finance may prescribe by order published in the Gazette. So these are the roles, the roles of Financial Reporting Foundation and Malaysian Accounting Standard Board. Alright. Okay. So habislah bahagian yang kedua. We go through the third part. Part 3. So part 3, okay, this one is part 3. Part 3 and part 4. Okay, part 3 is about statutory regulations and financial accounting and reporting. So we can see the cycle there, statutory regulations on financial accounting and reporting, where it starts. Okay, let me enlarge the picture. Okay, actually it is interrelated. Okay, so the Financial Reporting Act 1997, and then the Companies Act 2016, and then the Companies Act, sorry, the Income Tax Act 1967, then regulation by Securities Commission, then the Audit Oversight Board, and then regulation by Bursa Malaysia, and also regulation by Bank Negara Malaysia, and then go back to Financial Reporting Act. Okay, it continues. Yeah. So the statutory regulation of financial accounting and reporting in Malaysia is like this. The cycle continuous. Yeah, the cycle continue. Next, statutory regulation. It starts with the Financial Reporting Act 1997. Under Section 27 of the Financial Reporting Act 1997, it deals with compliance with approved accounting standard of the must be. So all companies in Malaysia must comply. All companies registered in Malaysia must comply with the requirement of this section, that all companies must comply with the approved accounting standard of the Malaysian Accounting Standard Board. The companies that are required to submit their financial statement to Securities Commission, the Central Bank, or the Registrar of Companies must prepare their accounts in compliance with the must be approved accounting standard. Not all company must submit their financial statement to the Securities Commission. Not all company will be required to submit their financial statement to Central Bank, but all companies must submit their financial statement to Registrar of Companies. Okay, for listed companies, they have to submit to Securities Commission on top of to Registrar of Companies. The same goes to banks and financial institutions. They will have to submit their financial statement to Central Bank on top of submitting to Registrar of Companies. Next, Companies Act 2016, the companies incorporated under this act must comply with the act provision concerning the accounting and reporting. That is compliance with Section 244, subsection 1 of the Companies Act that requires the financial statement of a company or consolidated financial statement of a holding company must comply with the approved accounting standard issued by the Malaysian Accounting Standard Board. Next is about the Companies Act 2016. Yeah. We are still in Companies Act 2016, accounting and other records to be kept. So what are the accounting records that should be kept by all companies? For proper accounting records, the accounts must be recorded and kept in such a manner as to enable them to be conveniently and properly audited. Yeah. So you must prepare the account in a manner that it can be audited within 60 days of the completion of transaction to which they relate. So you want to record your transaction, you have maximum 60 days. Let's say you have a transaction here, you have to record the transaction within 60 days. So latest by 60 days after today. For 7 years after the completion of the related transaction or operation. Okay, so we have to keep all financial statement for 7 years. Yeah, we have to keep all the financial statement for 7 years so that when auditor comes, okay, to check the financial statement, we still have the copy of the financial statement. At the registered office or at such place as the directors think fit, where to put the 7-year financial statement? It will be kept in the registered office. It will be kept in the registered office, such as the head office of the company. We are still in Companies Act 2016. Okay, for this one, we can refer to page 6 up to 9 of the textbook. Okay, about the what? System of internal control, accounting period of companies within the same group, director's responsibility to prepare financial statement, general requirement for financial statement, the duty to lodge financial statement and reports with the registrar, no par value regime, and as well as other topics. Okay, from page 6 to page 9. From page 6 to page 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, maybe for the first time ni, saya snap lah dulu gambar ya. Surat 6. Surat 7. Surat 8. Surat 9. So in page 6, you can find the compliance with other laws and authorities, accounting and other record to be kept, system of internal control. We start with system of internal control, accounting period of companies within the same group, director's responsibility, general requirement for financial statement, subsidiaries to be included in consolidated financial statement, the time allowed for sending out copies of the financial statement and reports, duty to lodge financial statement and report with registrar, relief from requirement, no par value share regime. Okay, so basically semua tu ada dalam nota ni lah. Jadi kita tengok satu kat sini. Pada muka surat 6 System of Internal Control. Kita baca sikit kat situ. The directors of a public company or subsidiary of a public company shall have in place a system of internal control that will provide a reasonable assurance that the assets of the company are safeguarded against loss from unauthorized use or disposition, and to give a proper account of the asset. And all transactions are properly authorized, and that the transactions are recorded as necessary to enable the preparation of true and fair view of financial statement of the company. Itu satu contoh. Kemudian kita tengok muka surat 7 bawah sekali. The time allowed for sending out copies of financial statement and reports. Okay, for a private company, sending a financial report shall be within 6 months of its financial year end. Within 6 months. For public company, shall be at least 21 days before the date of annual general meeting. So untuk public company ni dibagi masa yang lebih sikit. At least 21 days before the date of annual general meeting. Kemudian dekat bawah sekali daripada muka surat 8, no par value share regime. A significant feature of the new Companies Act 2016 is the introduction of no par value share regime. Under the original Companies Act 1965, shares issued must have a par or nominal value. Any excess of the issued price over the par value must be credited to share premium account. The capital maintenance concept was then applied to ensure that the par value must be maintained for the protection of shareholders and creditors. There were various legal restrictions on the reduction of capital and issuance of shares at discount under the original Companies Act 1965. However, under the Companies Act 2016, the NPV, non-par value, no par value share regime is believed to provide greater flexibility on the raising of capital by companies in the modern day capital markets. And it will also simplify the accounting requirement on issuance of shares. The share can be issued without par value. It will correct the many misconceptions on par value shares. adequacy of capital, and the solvency of the reporting company. Apart from this, no par value shares requirement, the Companies Act 2016 has new requirement on share buyback, solvency requirement test, and on the distribution of profit. Jadi apa yang kita ambil gambar tadi tu daripada muka surat 6 hingga 9, itulah antaranya. Yang selebihnya awak bacalah. Okay. Okay, next is Income Tax Act 1967. Income Tax Act 1967. This act is more concerned with determining the chargeable income and tax payable. So the name of the act, the name of the act continues from 1967. It means up to today. Okay, the name of the act is still Income Tax Act 1967. Income Tax Act 1967. Walaupun sekarang ni 2023-2024. Masih nama dia Income Tax Act 1967. Okay. This act requires that every person carrying on any trade or business keep sufficient records to enable the determination of income tax or loss from the business by the Director General of Inland Revenue or an authorized officer. Okay, that is the requirement of Income Tax Act 1967. What about regulation by Securities Commission? Securities Commission was established under Securities Commission Act 1993. Its main function are to encourage and promote the development of capital market in Malaysia through regulation and enforcement of all matters relating to security industry. Yeah. It also has the statutory power to enforce compliance with its regulation, including compliance with approved accounting standards. Regulation by Securities Commission in 2007, the Capital Market and Service Act 2007 was enacted in Parliament. This is in 2007. It was established in 1993. But in 2007, the Capital Market and Service Act 2007 was enacted in Parliament. The CMSA, Capital Market and Service Act, require a listed corporation or a listed company to submit to the Commission a copy of its audited annual accounts within 2 weeks from the date of its annual general meeting. And number 2, its interim and periodic financial reports immediately after the figures are available. These are the 2 documents that need to be submitted to Securities Commission. The CMSA, the new act, also require that all listed company to keep accounting records. That will be sufficiently explained. The record must be able to sufficiently explain the transaction and financial position of the listed corporation. And the report also enable true and fair profit and loss accounts and statement of financial position and any document required to be attached thereto to be prepared from time to time. And to be conveniently audited and then to be kept for 7 years after the completion of the transaction. Okay, kena simpan akaun selama 7 tahun. Di mana? In registered office. Number 5 is the Audit Oversight Board. AOB, Audit Oversight Board, was established under Securities Commission Act 1993. The role is to assist the Securities Commission in overseeing the auditors of public companies, as well as to protect the investors by promoting confidence in the quality and reliability of audited financial statement of public companies. The Audit Oversight Board has statutory power to conduct inspections and monitor programs on registered auditors to assess their compliance with auditing, accounting, and ethical standards. It is empowered by the Securities Commission Act to sanction any registered auditors for non-compliance with any provision on Part 111A of the Act, notices or guidelines issued by the Securities Commission. Number 6 is regulation by Bursa Malaysia. Bursa Malaysia was formed to regulate companies listed on Bursa Malaysia Exchange. It does not have the legal power to enforce compliance, but it has power to delist. What is delist? Delist is the opposite of list. You can apply for listing, and the Bursa Malaysia can delist your company or suspend your company or publicly reprimand errant listed companies for any non-compliance with its regulation. The provision regarding financial accounting and reporting under Bursa Malaysia under Bursa Malaysia listing requirement. Number 1 is annual reporting. The printed annual report shall be issued to the company shareholders within the period not exceeding 6 months from the close of the financial year of the company. So it means if your year end is 31st December 2023, you must print the annual report the latest by 30th June 2024. The annual audited accounts, together with the auditors and directors' reports, shall be given to the exchange. Exchange is referring to Bursa Malaysia for public release within a period not exceeding 4 months from the close of the financial year of the company. The annual audited account should be in the form of consolidated financial statement. The annual audited account should be prepared in accordance with the accounting standard and pronouncement of the must-be and the requirement of the Companies Act 2016. Secondly, interim reporting. Public listed company are required to comply with the quarterly reporting and requirement of the Bursa Malaysia. Exchange here is referring to Bursa Malaysia, which comprise of the following. Number 1, to file with the Bursa Malaysia for public release a quarterly report which is on consolidation basis where applicable as soon as the figures are available and in any event not later than 2 months after the end of each quarter of a financial year, which are statement of financial position, statement of profit or loss, equity statement and cash flow statement, and also explanatory notes. The quarterly report is prepared in accordance with the MFRS 134 interim reporting and some additional information required by the Bursa Malaysia. Next is regulation by Bank Negara Malaysia. Bank Negara Malaysia or Central Bank had issued 2 sets of guidelines on financial reporting practice of financial institution established under the Banking and Financial Institution Act 1989. That is BNM GP3 and BNM GPA. GP3 is classification of non-performing loans and provision for substandard, bad and doubtful debt, and GP8 guideline on financial reporting for licensed institution. Okay, so this is actually related to banking and financial institution. Okay. Next is Reporting requirement by types of entity. Non-incorporated entity, non-incorporated entity, for example, sole proprietorship or partnership, to comply with the approved accounting standards for preparation and presentation of its financial statement. And to submit its financial statement to the Director General of Inland Revenue Board, Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri, for the purpose of assessing income tax under Income Tax Act 1967. Ini untuk non-incorporated entity, sole proprietorship and partnership. What about incorporated entity? Incorporated entity, kita ada dua jenis, iaitu private company, sendirian berhad, ataupun public company, berhad. So now we talk about sendirian berhad first. Number one, to comply with the approved accounting standard in the preparation and presentation of financial statement. Number two, to comply with Companies Act 2016. Its financial statement must be audited, should reflect the true and fair view, and submitted to Companies Commission of Malaysia within 6 months of the financial year end. And number three, to submit audited financial statement to the Director General of Inland Revenue Board for the purpose of assessing chargeable income under Income Tax Act 1967. This is for private company. What about public company? For a public company, for a public company, there will be more requirement. Number one, to comply with approved accounting standard. Number two, to comply with Companies Act 2016. Number three, to submit audited financial statement to Director General of Inland Revenue Board. Number four, to comply with Security Commission. I mentioned to you earlier, Securities Commission can only regulate public company. Okay, so this is requirement number four, to comply with the Security Commission corporate disclosure policy. And lastly, to comply with the Bank Negara Malaysia guideline. If it is a bank or it is a financial institution under Banking and Financial Institution Act. And lastly, this one just now is unlisted public company. And the last one is listed public company. Listed public company means the company share is traded in the Bursa Malaysia. The reporting requirement by an incorporated company, a listed public company, to comply with the number one, approved accounting standard. Number two, Companies Act 2016. Number three, Securities Commission guideline. Number four, Bursa Malaysia listing requirement. Number six, Income Tax Act. And number seven, if the company is a bank or financial institution, it will have the report to be submitted to the Bank Negara Malaysia according to Bank Negara Malaysia guideline. Okay, according to Bank Negara Malaysia guideline. Okay, so habislah kita punya bahagian 4 bahagian 4 daripada nota ni. Ada satu bahagian lagi. Satu bahagian lagi tu kita akan cover pada kelas yang akan datang. Pada kelas yang akan datang. Okey. Ada apa-apa soalan? Ada apa-apa soalan?
Sir,
Ya,
boleh tunjuk the front page of the book, textbook.
suara awak tak dengar lah. Boleh
Boleh
kuat.
boleh Prof tunjuk front page of textbook.
Front page of textbook. Okey. Kejap saya ambil gambar. Tapi buku ni adalah buku yang second latest tau, bukan yang latest. Buku yang latest dia lagi tebal. Kejap saya ambil gambar. Saya punya buku ni second latest. Okey. Dapat ni gambar tu? Saya akan cuba tunjuk gambar. Okey, nampak tak gambar ni? Ini second latest lah. Yang latest lagi tebal daripada ni. Yang ni pun tebal dekat 2 inci. Yang latest tu lagi tebal daripada tu lah, 2 inci lebih lah ketebalan dia. Tapi I don't have any problem kalau you ada edisi yang ini ataupun edisi yang sebelumnya pun tak apa. Ya. Kalau nak beli edisi yang terbaru pun okey juga. No problem. Yang terbaik beli yang edisi yang terbaru lah. Okey. Ada lagi apa-apa soalan? Siapa yang belum saya panggil nama tadi ada tak? Zafirah ni dah panggil nama belum?
Dah.
Dah tadi Okey. Macam ada seorang lagi tadi. Okey, untuk attendance nanti saya akan buat satu Google Form sebab nama awak tak ada lagi dalam sebahagian nama tu tak ada lagi dalam SIM kan? Saya check dalam SIM tu baru ada satu nama je. Jadi saya tak print. Saya tak print attendance. Nanti bila dah nama ada semua baru saya print lah attendance. Okay. So inilah dia kita punya lecture untuk hari yang pertama. InsyaAllah kita akan jumpa lagi pada kelas yang kedua nanti pada hari apa? When is our next class?
Rabu.
Pada hari Rabu InsyaAllah kita akan jumpa pada hari Rabu. So tolong baca nota tu dan sekiranya saya bagi tutorial question, sila buatlah ya. InsyaAllah kita jumpa lagi pada hari Rabu. Kita sudahi kelas kita dengan surah Wal Asr. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal asri innal insana lafi khusr illa allazina amanu wa amilus solihat wa tawassaw bil haqq wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.